Welcome to the Cardinal Minute Retrospective episode. My name is Austin Gable, and I'm the creator of the Cardinal Minute, and I've also been the host and producer of the show for the last 7 semesters. However, I'm graduating in a few days, so I decided to put together a history/behind-the-scenes video for the show. I wanted to do this because I think it'll be fun, but it's also kind of a goodbye letter. So let's start with freshman year me. Oh no. So I joined the Otterbein video team my first semester here in the fall of 2021. I mostly ran cameras for the sports live streams at first, like soccer and football and whatnot. But at a video team meeting early the next semester, we were talking about what else we can make because the video team should probably make several videos, not just sports ones. But I thought of a news/event show because at the time I was a commuter and I realized that I didn't really know what was happening on campus. So I pitched the idea, made a few test episodes, and I posted the first official episode of the Cardinal Minute on February 25th, 2022, which is what's behind me right now. Welcome to the first episode of the Cardinal Minute. The Cardinal Minute is a 1-minute news show about the upcoming events at Otterbein and will also include some other news. I only have a minute, so I should probably start. I stuck with this setup for a long time, honestly. The handheld mic, camera on a tripod, the blackboard background. Fun fact, though, I had to memorize my lines for the entire existence of this setup. Yeah, my lines were short, but sometimes my brain decided that I'm bad at saying English words, and I'd end up with 20 minutes of footage for a 1-minute show.
The Cardinal lecture, I can't say it. The Cardinal lecture series.
Editing was a chore. I also tried adding some props into this episode, if you couldn't tell. The event I was talking about here was the library celebrating its 50th birthday, so I just grabbed a bunch of birthday decorations from home, and I was like, yeah, maybe this is kind of funny. I always wanted to add a little bit of personality to each episode, because if the show was just Guy reads Otterbein event calendars, I don't think anyone would watch it, at least not consistently. That's why there's quite a few episodes with props, and why I like to make a little remarks here and there. Just try to add some of me into each episode. And oh my god, the lighting. I could not figure out lighting that semester. To be fair though, I'm not sure I ever really figured out lighting. It's the eternal struggle for video producers, if I'm being completely honest. I started using a ring light eventually, and sometimes that looked good. Sometimes it didn't though. But anyway, from then on, I tried to get more consistent with making episodes. I just had to find the flow of how I wanted production to work. That was always a cool part of the Cardinal Minute, is that I controlled production. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to have a project where I make the major decisions myself. I mean, I couldn't say anything I wanted, obviously. It's a news show, and it was affiliated with the university. But there was no one in my ear telling me what events I had to talk about or what equipment I had to use for shooting or anything like that. Fun fact, that microphone was a prop starting in fall 2022. I used a shotgun mic on top of the camera from then on, so I just held the fake mic in my hand. It felt weird when I wouldn't have something in my hand, at least in that setup. I say that, but even now, I kind of struggle on what to do with my hands. I just kind of have them on the mouse and on the keyboard. And I don't love what it looks like. By this point, I had a really solid schedule, and I was putting out episodes really consistently. Another one of my internal conflicts, though, was deciding what events to talk about. Eventually, I decided to stay away from mentioning clubs that meet weekly, because I found myself talking about the same 4 clubs each week. I felt a little bad doing this, because those clubs would do some fun things that I just wouldn't talk about. But I had to find a balance, so if a club had a big special event, I talk about that. Still, if you ever felt like I missed certain events, that might be why. Or honestly, sometimes I just missed events that were happening. Every now and then, I'd kick myself for not reporting on an event. Once I posted on Instagram, and the immediate next post after I swiped down that I saw was an event that I missed and really should have reported on, which does hurt, but I'm human. I make mistakes sometimes. But oh boy, now we get to the studio upgrade. This studio opened in late spring 2024, and man, did it make my life a lot easier and a lot more fun. I didn't have to get out a camera, tripod, mic, and light source myself anymore. Now I can just sit down and press a button, and boom, I'm recording. And the big addition from the studio was the teleprompter. The teleprompter not only removed my need to memorize lines, which I'm reading off of it now. This episode would not exist without the teleprompter. I can't memorize this much. But it's also just a really cool piece of tech. So it's an iPad that sits under the camera lens. The camera lens is actually behind a one-way mirror, right? So you can still see me. I can't actually see the camera lens right now because I see the reflection of the iPad, if that makes sense. It lets me read the text while still looking directly into the camera lens. And I can also control how much it scrolls right here with this mouse, believe it or not. Mice, like computer mice, they can scroll. I didn't know if you knew that. Speaking of other features that I could now do with the addition of this studio is the graphics. Once I moved to the studio, I stopped editing the event graphics in post and put them in a keynote here. That's why when I press a button, it slides in and out, and they are physically on this monitor back here. I think it looks way better, honestly. The graphics are bigger and easier to read, and in generally, they just look better. But I'm not the reason they look better. This brings us to last semester, fall 2024, where for the first time in Cardinal Minute history, I had other people helping me. Yeah, it took that long. During the semester, Allison Miller, Michael Wynn, and Isaiah Smith helped with each episode. Allison started designing the graphics in Canva, which is why they started to look good. Once she stopped, I edited them in Canva myself, but she was better at it than me. Isaiah often worked on the crew, which is like behind the camera, doing lighting and tech and stuff. But he did co-host 2 episodes with me, which you can see here. And Michael actually helped me both last semester and this semester, working on the crew as well. The framing of this shot for each episode, it just looked so good, essentially perfect for each episode because of Michael. But if any of you 3 are listening, thank you so much for the help. I think the show really went to another level because of the work you guys put in. It was also nice not just kind of talking to myself when shooting. It makes me feel less insane. That kind of brings me to the end here. There's a lot more small details I could talk about. So if you have any questions about literally any aspect of production or the show in general, leave a comment and I'll respond as best I can. I've mentioned this in past episodes, but as of right now, there are no concrete plans for the continuation of the Cardinal Minute next year. But there have been some talks on finding a new host. So just keep your eye out on the Instagram and YouTube channel. I'm sure there'll be something. I can't guarantee it, but there probably will be. Either way, though, my last thank you goes out to Professor Mike Moon and our campus videographer, Steve Rossman. This whole show would not have been possible without your guys' support and help. So thank you so much. And also thank you to the viewers, just anyone who watched any episode. This little project of mine would not have been what it is without anyone watching. So thank you. Yeah, I guess that's it. One last time, that's all for the Cardinal Minute. I'm Austin Cable. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess this is goodbye.